Welcome to the COD Rec League. My name is Scavy. I'm joined by none other than the amazing and wonderful Hyperactive. And tonight, this beautiful Wednesday night at that, we have the LA Dweebs versus Denver Surrender.
Oh, what a battle this is going to be, as this is one of the few times we're actually going to see a team from a lower division get pushed up. Denver Surrender is in silver, but the LA Dweebs remain in gold, as Denver Surrender have clearly been dominating their category. But this isn't like the first time we've seen a situation like this.
No, it definitely isn't at all. LA Dweebs, they are 1-3 in the gold, and Denver Surrender undefeated 4-0. So by the rule set of CRL, they're going to be bumped up, like you said earlier, to make more interesting matches to see whether or not if Denver Surrender can hold their own in a higher division. So with that being said, well, LA Dweebs, as of right now, 34 seconds and counting. Scraps going to the boys in red as we move on over to P2, and right now it's got blue written all over it.
It does have blue, but I'm still wary of that red side of LA on the better spawns. They need to be careful not to lose all their players, because now you've just allowed Denver to flip the spawns and they will have a better advantage. And still with 45 seconds on this point, Denver, well, this is a huge start if you're Denver, because you got great control of P2, early point time. They got bumped up here.
Yeah, finally the pinch is going to go through. 2 headshots in a row for LA Dweebs, and that'll be Scraps. Hitting on over them for quite some time. Now Denver Surrender, well, they'll allocate 2 on rotation, and the last 2 will go ahead and try to pick up on those Scraps. They're able to win it. Win it at that, but now Silly left with the Rival 9 held tightly in hand to make the charge and make that break happen. As he sits from bridge, checking bridge at that. In a second, if he's not careful, he's going to get picked off in the process, but no! It seems like he just turned on Crisco, but eventually is traded out by Melta. But the question is here, Hyper, of whether or not if the reinforcements had enough time to arrive, and they did it. An absolute standoff will ensue here over this P3.
And rotations have been flipped again. A lot of the LA Dweebs spawned on that right side, so this is going to allow Denver a great opportunity to make a good break. TKO gets staying on point. Silly back on there, down to Crisco, left alive. He now gets reinforcements. He will fall, and Denver again breaks LA Dweebs on their rotation. I tell you what, even when everything goes against Denver, the wrong spawns, things not working well, they just found a way to break them easily.
Cool, calm, and composed is what's the name of the game, and it's exactly what Denver is writing in their books right now and running with it. A couple of shots here, left and right, trades at that, but overall, Hyper, a steady flow of blue into the feed, not much red at that. So if you're LA Dweebs, I mean, it's early game. But at this point in time, it seems like the gunny's not there. The shots aren't there at all. And like you said earlier, the rotations are always being won by Denver. So you want to take that with a grain of salt, but also realize there's still time to change things up. And if you want to change things up, you got to do it right now. And this would be the perfect opportunity to do it.
It really is the perfect opportunity, but you can see LA a little hesitant. Especially onto that P3. I get you don't want to push onto point, give away your location. You don't know where Denver was entirely, but it was too much. And this has like made that break just that little bit harder. They're finally on point. A little bit of health and a little bit of life, but there's only 2 there, and it's going to be the full team of Denver to come onto point. Crisco left alive, Renetti out, that's going to be number 2. It's a 3, no! Gilly says no, and takes him down, but his teammate of Melted being there, prepped, ready. Well, he's going to get some points for LA. And finally, something going to the West Coast side.
Yeah, finally something is going over to the West Coast side. Crisco with that great break there to allow the snaps to be won by LA Dweebs. But now Denver, again, have spawns in their favor and the rotations add that. So whether or not if they can break those spawns is the question to be had. Right now, the contest goes through. Jet is found by Civil. And again, Denver Surrender, complete domination right now on bridge. Picking up exactly where they left off. That's 3 off, Hyper.
Yeah, exactly, but you've got to be careful of K-Jet. He's now coming straight in. He was a little pain originally onto the bridge. So you've got to keep an eye on what he's going to do. But at the moment, LA, they need a good break here. Site is open, but I tell you what, it really is not. Well, they make it so because Denver did have people around the outside to decide, you know what? Take it. Take the site. We'll rotate over to P1, and what looks to be just 5 meters walk to the next point, Denver have swarmed the bridge and taken it back for their own.
Yeah, the interesting thing too about Rio Hyper, like you were saying earlier, is that next point, the P1 full rotation is literally right across the bridge from P5. So the fact that Denver Surrender didn't even allow themselves to lose any sort of time of scraps is just showing how much of a team this is that doesn't want to lose scraps, realizing and recognizing that every second counts and completely capitalizing on any and all of those opportunities to get some time as, again, they start to slowly but surely pull away at just over 30 points at this point in time. Civil with a great two-piece. My goodness gracious. The second was a headshot. Couldn't find the third. Crisco is there to make him pay. And he has to reload his gun because a machine will make him pay as well with a great turn on. All headshots, but one kill with the rival 9 into the feed. Denver Surrender remained undisrupted.
Tell you what, even though Denver is the talking point right now, the way they're coming in and really putting up a good fight to LA are holding their own. They really are pushing onto these points, getting some good scrap times, good points, and holding Denver off for a reasonable amount of time. So that's why this scoreline isn't huge, it isn't massive, because LA are there, they're prepped, and especially if you're Crisco, who's on the side, he's gonna find two. No, he will fall, but Melted definitely did the job and helped out his team to bring the reinforcements in, and it won't last for too long as Tenacity, left alive, swings the wrong way, and Denver have P2.
Yeah, Denver have P2 and spawns in their favor right now. So now a great line of the boys in red are going to try to get themselves acclimated, infiltrated onto the point. Crisco finds one. Melted is able to capitalize on a trade himself. Tenacity, again, the last alive, can't do it. Silly World is on a spree of two pieces consecutively on the map. 19 and 14 to his name. You can't hate it. Unless you're LA Dweebs, of course. But Shane already trying to push himself up, get himself ready for that early rotation. And from boxes Melted, you don't want to peek that too much, because if you lose that kill, well, you might lose spawns around with it, as Shane is trying to do that right now.
You said about Skilly World being on 19 and 15. Well, look at TKO Machine. He is a machine. 22 and 9. Hello, that is some damage indeed, as continuously the feed is showing more blue than it is red, but somehow LA got good control at the moment onto the third point, but Shane gets the contest. Just playing with time, waiting for the reinforcements to come in, and now the explosion will go on to point, but it's been denied. LA read it like a book, said thank you very much, and they need to close down this gap.
Yeah, this is a huge gap to be closed. 130 is just about where they'll be if they hold on tight. So Denver Surrender, yes, you've been able to play really well at this point in time. Yes, you've won those rotations, but now is a testament to see when you got a tough hold to break, whether or not if you can break it. And that's exactly what LA Dweebs is not allowing them to do. Cage at Crisco on streaks of their own. If they keep up this pace, keep up that momentum, Hyper, it could be one step closer to that map 1 win, especially given the fact that cruise missiles are starting to come onto the table, and Denver Surrender still don't have this next point.
It's almost like LA have just turned a switch, smelt the pot of coffee, and gone, absolutely, we're fired up, let's get going. But just as it got fired up, Skilly able to lurk and take the spot of the Zig straight from them, and in doing so, now LA, a little bit of threat, a little bit of pressure, reinforcements will come in, so they take a deep breath, a little skip of the heartbeat, but LA continue to close down this gap.
Yeah, I mean, right now it seems like a sea of blue is trying to crash right onto LA, and they're not doing anything about it at this point in time. K-Jet, there's the cruise missile for the back pocket. Mid-map realms at TKO. Him and the rest of the guys at Denver, with regards to one, have completely cut their losses. K-Jet really made him cut his losses, putting him 6 feet under there, and now decided to rotate over to the point. Melted? Doesn't matter. He'll get one kill to get the ball rolling.
This is the first time they've taken the lead, and it's taken 172 points to get there, and now they look like they're not gonna stop. They're looking to take this all and get it sorted. Melted, he had an idea. He got the kill and the trophy system down. This is going to be locked for bridge, and you've got to make sure you win good possession here, because it's going to go to P1 again.
Oh, the pressure's on right now, Hyper. Denver Surrender is faced with a possible map 1 loss after such a strong start. A humiliating loss at that. So whether or not they can break on is what we're going to see right now. But again, you said, they found the rhythm. Hyper, K-Jet on an ace streak. 1 minute and 28 on a point. Could you ever ask for a better teammate? There's the 9th. And again, like I said, this is an unfortunate situation for Denver because you go on over to P1 and look who it is from behind. K-Jet with 2 more to his name. He's on 11 finally. Silly World will put him to rest, but not before the damage has been done. We go to P1 right now. It could very well be won by LA Dweebs. And again, look who it is. Sitting on point, Crisco, the early change maker in the game, finds 2 to his name, and the Pendulum Hyper just keeps swinging over to the red side.
The red side of LA are gonna absolutely love this. They've got great control. Spawns are gonna be even on both sides because it is P1. However, Denver, they're not giving up. They're sending the waves. They're sending the army. They're sending the troops to keep on going. And TKO from the rear. Bin Red and LA Dweebs. They were from behind, from the grave. They still have cruise missiles in their back pockets. There's one going to be dropped, but in doing so, it's not going to be enough because it's LA's to take it home.
There goes map number 1 for LA Dweebs. You think, watching this map for about 30 seconds or so, maybe half the rotations, you think that LA Dweebs are just in a slump, not doing too hot. Denver, all blue in the feed for those good first 3 hardpoint rotations, like you said earlier, down by a significant damage has already been done. 2v2 now, bomb being planted on B.
Yeah, and in doing so, this is going to create a whole heap of problems if you are Skilly. Because now you're in a horrible position that you can't do anything with. And already round 1 going in favor of LA, and Denver coming off a loss that it was a good lead and then turned into a disaster for them. You've got to be mentally there to pick up the pieces and go for another strike.
I'll tell you what, you got to be mentally there to pick up the pieces like you said, but LA Dweebs is surely mentally there and on fire right now, starting off that round number 1. But the thing that I caution the most about situations where you make a fantastic comeback on hardpoint and move on over to Karachi is the fact that you might get a little too you might feel inclined to feel a little too overconfident is a better way to word it. So with that being said, LA Dweebs play this exactly how it was from the get-go, assuming still 0-0 and no comeback has been made. That's the best recipe for success, because if they don't, well, Denver Surrender can certainly capitalize on it right there.
Well, the trade going off the start as Shane will pick up 1 and then find his own deathbed immediately after. But Tenacity getting behind on the bridge. He's going to get spotted out, but it doesn't matter because he'll say thank you very much. Jet also finding 1. Toxic can't do anything as Machine will fall. And now it is down to... Oh, it's going to be a defuse going in. And that was all too quick for LA. And Denver... well, nothing to fight back with.
I mean, Denver was able to get the bomb planted down and everything, and it looked like things were starting to get a little better, you know, things were a little bit in their favor, maybe. But just like that, that first kill from TKO, excuse me, from Tenacity to get the ball rolling, and the rest is sort of what followed, allowed Denver sort of scramble around the map there, trying to find answers, trying to wonder whether or not they should pick up on the trade, and like you said earlier, Hyper, shortly thereafter came down to crumble. But Tenacity, I think, biggest MVP of that past round, because he got not 1 but 2 kills, with the second being on bridge, and the rest is history from there on out.
They just allowed great mid control to LA Dweebs and Denver. A big, huge mistake. It might cost them here, but has Machine spotted the 2 on the outside? I think positions are given away. Jump in, finds 1. It's not going to work as Crescio says thank you very much. Takes down Machine, but in doing so, Denver biting back, says thank you very much. I'm surprised they won that after a lack of mid control.
Yeah, they didn't have that mid-control Hyper, but they were able to adjust anyway to the trades that were made and the kills that were made as well earlier on into the game. So with that being said, way to answer back, because there's one thing for sure that we know about LA at this point in time is that when they get the ball rolling, it's really hard to get it to stop. And right now, well, they've made it to a screeching halt 2-1 as they go on through. 3 seconds left to chat about what the best game plan would be. Now, B is probably the most attractive, but A is usually sort of that wild card spot. Anyway, they do opt for that B site, but Civil, well, he himself is going to get that nade read and also try to acclimate himself on a swift wrap around the map if he can.
Well, this is going to be great information for Civil, because at the moment, Denver, they're not fully committed to that B site, and with that little flash going in, Civil's now going to call, hey, there are still people around here, and in doing so,
There you
force
go.
the rotation. Now, an open sight as Tenacity falls, bomb's going to quickly go down, and if you're the rest of Denver, you've got to keep your eyes on a swivel to make sure the bomb is safe, because that will happen. Bomb now exposed. Denver split between two sites. Bombs at B, but the players are nowhere near.
So will just barely escape from that from his life. Crisco was chasing him around. There was a game of cat and mouse that went through, but ultimately Civil was able to escape with his life. But he's got to be careful now. He's sitting mid-map right now, and if one wrong peek could go through and Melted spots him out, well, he'll be absolutely annihilated. But he's able to just barely slip on through the cracks, and there's the information that's given out. No bomb has been put down yet, but Shane will go ahead and capitalize on that. A headshot at that. He gets the second now. Hyper 1v2 situation. Krisker will seek out the trade, but doesn't matter. Denver surrender. They got the high ground, Hyper, and they answer back. Tie game.
They really did. They played with the time. The bomb goes down in 5 seconds when you are planting the bomb. So a lot quicker than defusing. So they knew that knowledge. They could play this to the very last second. Civil coming to a great position up high, able to keep an eye and swivel around the entire map quite easily. In doing so, catching LA red-handed. And that was just well put together.
I'm interested to see where LA goes because they won 2 straight, one offense and the defense as well that followed after that. But now it seems again, you're going to opt for that B side. No one has been trying their hand at A just yet, but Tenacity will try his hand. Again, a couple of shots that ring through the map. He'll find TKO. I thought TKO would sort of capitalize onto that and turn on him for a second, but that's not going to happen. 4v3 situation. No smokes have been thrown. There it is. There goes the push. Waiting on the other side is Bridge. Shane, he's on it. He's hopping around like a bunny. And Tenacity then, they'll exchange a couple of shots back and forth, but eventually Tenacity will go ahead and go right under tunnel. He's the last alive to make a decision here.
Yeah, and in doing so, gonna bring himself into the danger and his death to Denver. And I think that was an ace for Civil as well. No, Skilly took it away. So a 3-piece for Civil and a 3-streak to add on top of that. Only 3 kills away for a guaranteed round with a cruise missile. Well, actually, we say guaranteed round. A lot of the time, it's used just for the info.
Well, yeah, and the info is just enough, especially on search. You're almost never going to get a kill, actually, especially at this skill level. What we will get is that info, which in turn should theoretically be that free round. But we never know. This is Call of Duty at the end of the day, and anything can happen just right now as Denver... Oh, I thought for a second, Hyper, they were going to get a little cheeky there and move on over to A, but... I think it was a little bit of a fake there where they threw the nade over that building and then right away they change and swift directions. But the question is, was that the right play to make? Because LA Dweebs pushed right up and right in the faces of Denver.
Yeah, they didn't force any rotation, so the fake was not as good as it should be. But Denver, they may have not worked. But I tell you what, Shane has a 5 spree going. Civil with a 4 streak going. That's a danger call if you're LA and if you've got a good IGL and they're counting. They now know that Skilly also has a 3 streak. They take down Civil, remove the 4 streak away, but it's down to Melted. Realistically, he just needs to run, hide, and not allow any of the players to add to their streaks.
Yeah, it's all you could really do at this point in time. I mean, you see he's very unsure of what's going on. He climbed up ladder and then jumped right off as soon as he did that. So a couple of stuns will go through. If anything, that's actually going to hurt him because Denver's going to know at least the general direction of where that stun came from behind. If he's not careful, on the bridge awaits his death. And Denver surrender. Well, you said earlier, Hyper, LA Dweebs had found their rhythm onto that hard point and took home map 1, but it seems now that Denver... they're changing the notes to this tune.
I tell you what, it just looks like those longer fights, those longer ranges in the MCW is working a lot better for Denver. It feels more comfortable carrying an AR than an SMG. And I feel that this map just sits well with them on top of it. And especially with Skilly on 4 streaks, Shane on 5. That screams some good confidence, some good gameplay from these guys. So we go into the next round. And then still, they avoid A like the plague.
A great spread, almost completely symmetrical, if you will, for a second there on the map. LA Dweebs in Denver evenly distributed all over the map, but the overcommit so far is over at A. So Ain will have to be the playmaker here. He gets 1. Skilly, extracurriculars from across the map, gets the second. Denver Surrender doing the complete opposite of what their name is at this point in time, but bomb's still in hand, and they're not too far away from each other. Jet and Tenacity. Jet, you got 11 streak on hardpoint. Now let's see whether or not if he can at least try to get these 4, maybe do the same if he gets lucky, but they're going to opt for that rotation, and TKO, while he's waiting on the other side, will completely annihilate his body. 37 seconds left to plant or get all 4 kills.
It's going to be a big call, but we know Jet can get the 4 streak in this situation. He finds one, takes down Shane. He's already got the cruise missile in his back pocket, though. So a kill that should have come earlier. And just as he steps out, a flying bullet will aim for his head and take him out.
There's map point for Denver Surrender. They found their footing, and they were slipping a little bit, slipping through the cracks in a hard point. Ultimately fell, but now completely different story is being told as Denver has snatched the book away from LA and is writing the chapters at this point in time. I mean, when you're watching these players over at the Dweebs play, it almost seems like they have lost like a lot of their bravery, and I don't know how else to put it, but their mechanics look a little off and their movements is a little weird. I mean, you can definitely tell that Denver Surrender's round streak is certainly getting to them.
It really is. LA, they were coordinated on that hard point in the way that they were able to make beautiful breaches, and then they kept forcing Denver into these horrible situations. Right now, it seems scuffed is the only word I can use. It looks genuinely horrible to watch. Cruz coming in. Shane's gonna drop it, get a load of information, but no kill and no commitment. But in doing so, Civil getting another down to Crisco. Left alive to clutch a 1v4.
You're gonna need to get the ace. He got 1. He needs 3 more to go. 40 seconds left to defuse the bomb, and well, Denver have nothing but time to just sit right on bridge if they need to, but they're not actually gonna do that. They're gonna seek him out, and Hyper, this could very well be a strategy that works with high risk. High reward, as Crisco will get him looking a little too overconfident. There's the second Hyper. I told you, you can't be spreading out too much. But there he is, the last person alive from Denver is Shane from that balcony. He's able to seek him out. 7.5 seconds to defuse, and there it is. Shane from bottom closes out the round.
Brilliant work from Denver Surrender. Little shaky off the end. I genuinely thought it was all going to get thrown into the trash and all was done. But Shane holding the most well, for a lot of people, a predictable position if you are coming from the... Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a hot minute. I tell you what, that hot minute has led us to finally be at this control. I am still somehow joined by the marvelous, fantastic Scavvy, and we've got a series that is building and brewing and about to boil over.
I'll tell you what, I was asked before we went into this map whether or not if our comms as casters had started to get a little cold here, but I'll tell you what, that's a better question to be asking to our players right now, because right off the bat, Denver Surrender will keep on going, keep picking up the pace from their map 2 win on Search. It was 6-2 for those of you who are just joining us on Search and Destroy, and they came out with a bang. So with that being said, they got that first stick onto A. Now working over to B, TKO finding that good kill off rotation, the difference maker, if you will. Melted. The last alive right around the point, he'll be taken out as well, and eventually, yeah, Shane will finish the dirty deed and keep that momentum going right on B.
Yeah, and in doing so, LA are gonna throw bodies at this B site. They're not wanting Denver to get any more progression that they needed, but this is actually quite a good strategy as well, because in doing so, you put up a very forward front. It's not going to last very long, and now LA on the back foot because already Scully is in the mix and trying to cause a little bit of chaos, and LA now having to really force their way back over to that B site to try and force Denver to be trapped within their spawns.
Yeah, I mean, Denver completed that B and had 2 minutes to go and lives in their favor, 19-13. So with that being said, well, Denver in a primal position right now to keep this momentum going. There goes the time. On to the point they go, but off they come right away as Civil will keep that momentum going. TKO with the last nail into the coffin, and Denver Surrender with a speedy round 1 win.
It's not very common you win invasion control. So this is huge to win on an attacking. And now you go to defending side, the momentum that Denver is bringing with them. Yo, I'm honestly saying this could be going to a 3-1, 3-0 scenario.
Yeah, we never really actually got into our predictions there. So with that being said, yeah, if they keep this energy up, I very much so could see a 3-0 with LA Dweebs sort of hanging their caps on their way out. But that being said, again, not to worry about that right now because TKO was on a streak, but it quickly was put to rest from Melted. So no cruise missile for you, and no objective yet has been touched at this point in time. You like to see most of the time teams try to get, you know, that A point done and dusted earlier on, but so far, Hyper, not anything, not a foot, not a breath onto A, as now, well, LA will shift their focus, and Shane from Tang looking to change that.
Yeah, LA, they tried their best, but Denver just locking down the A site, predicting this foreseeable attack. Now, look how widely spread Denver are, and in doing so, Civil is going to come from the rear and say thank you. A little hesitation, 1, 2, make that 3, no, just 2. His teammate will do the job as Tenacity will eventually fall. But a brilliant push and a brilliant drive because LA are stuck in the Palace.
They were stuck in the Palace, but not for long. Melted was able to get themselves right out of that, but well, the cruise missile is being called in, and whether or not if it lands will be the deciding factor of this point, and it doesn't land very well. So just like that, they'll go on over and keep on with the time as much as they can. Jet cannot lose control of this top window here, because if he does, it's game over for the boys right below. So their lives are in his hand, and right now he's doing a pretty admirable job defending it. Headshot right to the dome. Progression still will keep on going to B. Lives are even on both sides of the spectrum. Dark is covered. Jet, in an attempt to finally get this done and over with, gives up that top control. It's the right decision to make, Hyper, because they just spot themselves a minute and 20 of time.
Yeah, and this is going to massively help them. However, those lives down to 15 will probably give them two pushes at best. And they're not in a great position here. They're stuck all the way by Palace again. And Denver have been able to make sure every kill they do, they push themselves just that little further forward into their spawns. It's all very well and good capturing that B site, but it is a lot closer than the A site and a lot easier to capture. Shane will defend the point. So again, LA chucked back into Palace, and I said they had 1 or 2 attempts. They've got 1 attempt realistically now to try and get onto that A site.
Well, let me tell you something. There is a little dry, a little dark on the boys in red, but Jet so far with a nice 2-piece, and sitting in the spawns of Denver will try to ignite a flame. He's not able to do it, but is able to buy just enough time for Tenacity. 2-piece to his name. Melted will get the third. That's 3 off. 22 seconds and counting. Lives. Probably the most even you'll see so far at this point of the round. But just like that, TKO holding his own medal. Yeah, 2 to his name, and Crisco will pick up an extracurricular from the side. The time has stopped. This 1v1 has to be won. It's not. TKO will continue on in the domination for now, but just enough time for reinforcements to arrive. It's an absolute bloodbath here on A Street, and so far, it's got LA Dweeb's name written all over it.
Brilliant work from Denver, who takes the win, but LA, they had it all under control right at the final moment, and just when they needed it, Shane from the back says no more pushes, no more attempts, and couldn't allow LA to get a single foot on point. But you were right, that 1v1 fight winning in favor of Denver was critical, and every time they had a chance, it just slipped away.
4 seconds left to talk it out with your teammates. Talk about what's working and what's not. That's all you have at this point in time. No time to mourn, no time to be frustrated, because that is not what you want to see. I'll tell you what, Denver, what they want to see. Early cap on A. There goes the nades. A little delayed there, Melted, and placing down the trophy could cost you. Shane capitalizing on that, trying to find the second. Not able to. Teammate will pick up the trash and throw it out in the process. He'll get traded out as well. Shane sitting onto the point, getting shot into the back. He might be able to pick up one himself, but Tenacity is a little smarter than that and wins the 1v1.
And it looks too as well. You can see that Skill is going for the mid control, really trying to spread out LA. And what this allows is for Civil to do his own work with TKO just to get the progression going. They still have a minute 14 to make that 2 minutes 14 to play on the A site and a truckload of lives. And they're really putting LA in this awkward position as I don't know how Civil wins these fights as TKO also wins fights that shouldn't have been won. What is this mechanical skill that Denver are producing?
Yeah, I don't know what they had to eat for breakfast this morning because every single one of the players on Denver has had an absolutely disgusting turn on so far in this round. When you see LA Dweebs able to fend off the point, fend off A for quite some time, Denver surrender. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, baby. They will pick up the pace and will not show any sign of slowing down. Civil sitting here for a minute. He's crawling, he's prone, he's peeking A, and he gets the gunfight win. Tenacity looking to fix that, but I don't think they realize from Laundry. Cafe sits a player. There's TKO, but trade, well, it will be picked up.
Well, I tell you what, Denver, they have the live advantage. They can continue with the same momentum that they're doing. And what's brilliant about what Denver is doing, they're getting control into their spawns. It's not a spawn trap, but what it does is forces the spawns to go north. Now, it allows Denver to get on point. Civil there with Shane. Now that progression is going to go a little bit faster. Melted has to do something, loses that fight, and this is going to allow Denver to continue the progression to try and make this a 3-0. But the contest is going to make it a little bit harder. 2 ticks done. No, 1, and just short of the second.
54 seconds left. 2 more slivers to take and 8 lives to defend it. LA Dweebs have been gunned down this entire round, but at this point in time, they need to put their foot down and say, enough is enough, because 30 seconds, 6 lives, there's not enough time and not enough lives to be wasting at this point in time. So Silly will go ahead and play his hand at the 1v1 from Tenacity. Shots are traded from both sides. He tries to pick up the trade. Civil finding one from cross map. TKO picking up the pace as well. And there goes the time on A. Gas station control is there. And what seems to be all hope is lost. Crisco will try to bring things back. Maybe allow them to buy more time for this map. But just like that, a 1-2-3 inning, Denver surrender will take home this map.
And what control they had. We said at the start about us not being warmed up, being cooled down. LA, they felt stiff. They felt...
The vibe of the team must be glowing right now. Like, they must be extremely excited, really ready to go into this. But without further ado, off to the races these fine gentlemen go, and on to P1. Boys in blue will sit for quite some time. There's 3 off. Jet won't be the 4th.
Well, the first point, as we always mention, is gonna be the bloodbath. It's gonna be that initial control, the initial ticks, but more importantly, the rotation onto the second point, of course, that being down south, as that nade is gonna do a fantastic job at killing TKO. However, a little bit of your teammate not really good with that mix. But as I was saying, Southern Control is where you need to be. But right now, focus is still up north. Melted, finds one, gets traded out instantly. But no one's looking south enough yet. 10 seconds to go. Position-wise, it would be Denver's control. But look at the rear, as Melted is the one actually committing to the rotation.
Yeah, Melted might be committing to the rotation type, but DKO is trying to cut off any of those reinforcements. And right now, Melted is sort of isolated on his own in this 1v1 against Civil that he ends up losing in the process. So yeah, like you said, Denver Surrender wasn't pushing point right away, but they're pushing rotations to get mid cut and get control of mid as well and effectively as possible. And as a result, well, Civil will keep on hitting his shots. Top Burger is dead. Crisco finally saying enough is enough, but Shane will trade him out into the process. Now, no real control made onto this P2, but from the looks of it right now, Crisco is doing a fantastic job for at least trying to get the boys in red to stay on the point.
Crisco, I believe, just got the 6th streak as well. So cruise missile in the back pocket. We will have to double check. Yes, he is. There it is on the screen. Cruise missile, massively going to help in the late stage of the game unless you want to go early. And damn right, that was dirty. Is how do you shoot from distance? That is going to be LA showing up to the game. And I tell you what, we were doubting them for a little bit. but there's no doubting them right now.
I mean, this is the bread and butter right now. The CQB style mount, like we were saying, the Rival 9 is fantastically being put to use right now from the boys in red. Whether they keep the... For a second there, Melted. Calm down now. Jet's your teammate. You don't want to die to him, and Shane will go ahead and capitalize on that mistake there and get 2 to his name. Well, time could be of essence right now at this point in time, but LA Dweebs still have spawned into their favor. Denver Surrender looking to change that. Civil will fall to the ground. Nothing's hitting right now. Nobody's home right now. No one's answering, but TKO, he's got 2 pieces to his name. Doesn't matter. LA Dweebs still have spawns, at least to their favor, and just like that, there's 3 off.
They continuously keep good control. Every break that Denver has tried to throw at them, they've been able to rebuild very quickly. They take a little damage, rebuild fast. Now is the only time the break has actually been successful, but it was in LA's corner. They wanted that break to happen so they could focus on the rotation. However, not work to their great advantage as Denver have the better spawns. Civil holding the line and the fort. And as we head over to the tower, LA ready for a push.
I mean, just took a look at the spread right now. Those red arrows in the bottom left corner of your screen, they're every which way. They're kind of crumbling. They're not really playing with each other at all, which is going to allow Denver Surrender to sort of win in most of these gunfights here. But just like that, a smooth line of red will try to infiltrate onto the point. And now with TKO being the last alive, it's hard for you to make much of a play here. There goes the reinforcement. Shane finds 1, but you're going to need to get tenacity off the point if you want to think about holding. And they're not able to. Spawn still in favor of LA Dweebs. They're just absolutely frying onto this P4, showing no sign of slowing down, and as a result, you can see Denver Surrender shrug their shoulders, scratching their heads and cut their losses. But careful now, Hyper. Melted from cross map will find 2 as well. K-Jet and Crisco assisting him. Again, LA Dweebs getting to that 100-point mark, while Denver, well, they struggle to even hit 30.
This is the point in time where you look at that scoreline, you're nearly 100 points ahead. You start to question the 100-point membership, and this is quite predominantly strong application for a 100-point club. And in doing so, it continues to feed in red. How do you continue to find this momentum against all the odds that have been thrown against you? If you 100 club Denver, you come in with confidence on that S&D.
It's all red onto the feed, but hold on a second now. A little bit of a quiet here. The water has started to settle. This is a hold that Denver really needs to hold on to, and hold on. Don't let anyone get on, and if they do, you go out kicking and screaming, because at this point in time, we're at that P5, and then once we get to the P4, it's right across the bridge, right across that balcony, and it's super, super easy to rotate on over if you can get control of that bridge. But just like that, Scrap finally will favor Denver for quite some time, but no. Unoccupied for those 4 seconds. 4 seconds that I'm sure feel like an eternity for Denver. But here we go. P1. Setups clearly there for the most part, but LA Dweebs, well, they're no stranger to breaking these points, especially on a map like this, though.
Yeah, and they're going to look at main control and getting the main block to be in their favor. That's the battle you really want to win at the moment. Denver able to suppress LA, not necessarily get the kills, but in doing so, LA looking for a different angle, going for the rotation down south and making sure they control this angle. Crisco also holding the fort on point, saying, you know what? We let you have a little bit of time, and now we're going to apply the pressure once again onto Denver. And this is absolute domination from LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's domination at that. And you look at this LA team, they're not at all the team that we saw on the past 2 maps. But one thing is for sure, like we said, we were right, Hyper. This is a very heavy close counter CQB style team right now. And this is exactly where Denver Surrender should come to shine. This is where you see the undefeated team really show whether or not if they're worthy of holding that title. And right now, judging by the feed, well, it looks like that comeback is going to start right now. But there goes the cruise missile. He's going to be used by Crisco, and it's going to land right in the dome of Civil. So all that progress, well, easily erased. Shane and his boy over onto the point. Skilly left to defend the point. 60 seconds, 152 for LA Dweebs. The pressure is on, and the pressure is ever so hard onto Denver. Doing a decent job of holding this point, Hyper. It's only up from here if they keep it up.
That cruise missile that was used was was useful in the sense that LA were able to get an easier rotation to the P2, but in doing so, Denver almost lined them up through the stairs, and that was nothing that LA could do in that scenario. But still, Shane says thank you. He will get 5 streak and then will die. And now they look over to the 3rd point, and the 100-point club that I threatened at them is about to be revoked. Every time I call the membership card, it seems like they get scared and cancels the resume.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're taking a big fat pair of scissors right now, Denver, and trying to cut that membership right in half, but Jet's gonna try to prevent that from happening. Melted, the last alive here, struggling, isn't able to find an angle, but finally he does, and will opt to put a jump off the point there and let Crisco take care of shop, as now things have started to finally slow down a little bit here. They're being suppressed. Shane with a 2-piece to his name. My goodness, hello, welcome to CRL, my friend. He's gonna get a couple to his name and try to find another, but again, LA Dweebs, despite that 2-piece from Shane, will continue to rain on through the point and tread lightly at that 200-point mark.
Look at Denver's control. They've pinched LA right up into the northern part of the map, and in doing so, it's going to have to be a firefight to get your way out. TKO from a distance says, you know what, Tenacity? You are staying north, but this is now going to allow LA to spawn from a different position. They're spawning from the right, and they're spawning south right. So this makes it a little bit easier for LA to come for that attack. And now, as they get prepped, they get ready, it's all about how they choose to execute, and it will be a good execute. TKO left stranded, bewildered to how it happened, 1 point away to get out of the 100 points, and now LA decides to lock this down.
LA can't win on this at this point in time, but they can get pretty darn close to, and this is not a position that you want to see Denver surrender. White, when they get to that 200-point mark, things start to get extremely concerning for the Denver surrender, and just like that, they're able to retake control onto the point, but guns are still hot. Bullets of the MCW and presumably the Rival 9 still ringing across the map, as LA Dweebs are not allowing even seconds of scraps going on over to Denver surrender. We move on over to the next point. A bloodbath will ensue. Denver knows they don't have time. They need to win this rotation, and LA Dweebs trying to prevent that from happening.
Denver have better spawns, they have better positioning, and they're going to try and cut off the rotations early on. Scully right from above, and he's going to run out bullets, but the Renetti comes out to be sick, quickly saved. You have to remember what Price said, it's quicker to use your secondary than your primary. So, in doing so, it will still be control for LA because they were able to break the point. Now, it's not doable on this point to win. They're going to have to look to P1.
There goes Skilly. Great opening. 2-piece to his name. 34 and 28. He's trying, Hyper, and you can see it. You can see it in how he's playing. The momentum could be there. Civil. Oh, I was going to say they lined up just a little closer to each other. Got a nice headshot collateral with that 2-piece, but Jet, again, like I said, the LA Dweebs, they don't like letting any team get scraps, and just like that, he'll try his hand, get a little too greedy, get taken out in the process. There goes Skilly. 2-piece to his name. The feed was blue for quite some time. Melted onto the point. Absolutely deleted from the P1, and just like that, Denver surrender. They hold this whole point here, or nearly a whole point here. They're right back into the game to take back the lead at P2.
Yeah, and in doing so, an immediate break from LA. They wanted Denver to get on point, but TKO says, no, I'm still here, and this game is ours to fight.
37 seconds and counting right now, Hyper. 142, 210. You can start to feel it. The ground is shaking. The players are right back to where we expect them to be in their domination status. You can tell they're feeling themselves right now, but Crisco says not for so long as the trades go through. Skilly needs to win this gunfight, and he does, but the Chaw will go through, and there it is. Down to the floor he goes. Melted. Tenacity as well. Raining in the feed at this point in time. 10 seconds left, but these are 10 seconds, Hyper. You cannot afford to lose, so just like that, Denver surrender will win scraps, but if you look at the bottom left corner of the screen, Hyper, there it is. Number 6, Crisco, right onto the point and ready to take this home right here, right now.
Melted. Melted's on point. He's there. He's ready. He finds one. He's got a lot of jobs to do, but it's not going to happen because Shane's right in there. And already Denver swarms the point. Is this the dream scenario and the dream comeback? That's what they're in. That's
my
what they're
gosh.
meditating. That's what they want to happen. TKO hops onto point. Now he's in the firing line, and LA need to come up with a coordinated attack. They can't just throw individual bodies that they've been doing before. 3, push onto point. This is the break that they're looking for. Now Denver try and throw individual bodies to try and keep this alive. Skilly keeps it alive. Is it possible to win? No, it's not possible to win. So Denver done what they need to. Civil tries to keep it going. Points going back to Denver, and they've lost rotation onto the next. They have to rotate fast.
Have to rotate fast, Hyper. Time is ticking right now, and again, seconds have to be won. But on the board, there it is. There's 2 to start things off, but returning the favor is LA Dweebs. Control temporarily, Hyper, is over to Denver, but in a second, if he's not careful, TKO will get flanked from behind, and there it is. Crisco, he gets the pendulum rolling. Civil will try his hand. Nobody's home. Shane doing the same thing, finds one, but at the end of the day, back to the respawns, all they go, and TKO, this is your last-ditch effort. 2:48 seconds, and he wins a 2-piece. Crisco from top bridge is able to take him out into the process, and there it is. Melted. Sit onto the point. Clean up shop, and take home this map. We're going to a map 5.
Oh my god. I genuinely started to get belief that Denver was going to bring this back from a massive
51
deficit,
kills.
a lower division, and bringing this to a map 5. Off to the races these fine gentlemen go. And hello, Tenacity. Is he gonna find one? No, he's out of bullets. Oh, this just a lucky kill to get it going. It will get traded out. 3v3 on Invasion.
For those of you who are just joining us right now, it's worthy to point out that LA Dweebs has struggled tremendously on these longer range maps, these bigger CQB style maps. So as of right now, it would be this recipe for success for Denver Surrender to end this out with a bang. But right now, from the lives, the looks of it, 2v1 situation, Civil doesn't even know where the bomb is. He's struggled right now to make a play on both LA Dweebs players who are using that buddy system well, Hyper.
They really are. It's not like they're shoulder to shoulder holding each other's hand like a child. They're looking at cross angles. They're looking for areas where Civil could attack, and then what would happen is they can attack straight on it. And just like that, how did they pick it up? They must have heard something. The plant is committed, but it's not Counter-Strike. You don't get extra money. You don't get anything, any bonuses out of it.
I mean, I guess you can get an XP or a score bonus on top of that, but I mean, at the end of the day, score streaks are measured by kills and not by that. So LA Dweebs with a swift defuse and a swift way of cleaning up shop, not allowing much wiggle room after the bomb was planted for any more madness to ensue. You got one on the board for LA Dweebs, but the last time we saw them on search on Karachi, they answered with 2 straight after their hardpoint win. And then it was Denver Surrender who, well, did the complete opposite of Surrender for the next 6 after that.
Well, they can't surrender just yet. As the bomb looks to go north. We the north, as ones would say. As Skelly will say, thank you very much, Tenacity. You just ran into my bullets. We'll take 3 kills if you're not in your corners. Crisco actually getting a vehicle explosion on the site, on the A site, so that's a little extra bonus indeed. Brings it back to a 3v3. Well, Skilly brings it to a 3v2 instead.
From behind, Melted tries to get on Skilly, but Skilly says, no, 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 sir. Down to the ground you go with a fantastic turn on Denver Surrender. Now, given a taste of their own medicine to LA Dweebs, is now Crisco being the last left alive, but can't forget about him. He's the change maker. He is the hit maker. And he is the man that you probably would want in this situation if you had to pick one. So with that being said, Deddy popped. Running swiftly around the map, MCW held tightly in hand. He has no necessary idea of where he can plant the bomb because all throughout the map sits LA Dweebs, and those boots are louder than ever. They need to win this 1v1 on Tractor, and from behind he does. Buys him just enough time to get the plan, and this Hyper is where I say the buddy system comes to bite you in the back if you don't utilize it correctly, because now the bomb is planted and Civil is struggling to find an angle on Crisco.
Yeah, and this is going to be really difficult because Crisco's got good cover here. However, It's a very small cover and no trophy system, so grenades will do
Oh.
a lot of damage. So Crisco jumping up and down, trying to stay alive, dance around the track. There you go. He's not going to find his shot. Crisco gets it. LA takes another round.
You have got to be kidding me right now. LA Dweebs have seemingly been, especially Crisco, on fire after that thunderous hardpoint ending. 5-1 to his name. It doesn't get any better than this. Denver surrender. The pressure, just as we started to see in that hardpoint, is on. And I'm not saying that just because they got 2-round wins because we're still early on. I'm saying that because that play should have very well gone to Denver surrender. But Crisco came alive, clutched up in the 2v1, and proved all of the viewers at home why you'd want him in such a situation.
Yo, someone sign this guy up. We need him. We need him. He's doing good jobs. Bomb going north. Crisco
Whoa.
getting the vehicle destruction to get the kill. And now this adds more fear onto Denver's side. Well, not very long. Civil's got a little bit of an attitude and saying, this is ours to play. And we're going to play it the way we want it. Bomb looking to go A. However, no mid control will really give them much hope.
Shane, you'll find one. Tenacity down to the ground. 3v2 situation. Denver has this in their favor. So that being said, yes, there it is. Gilly, that is the smart strategy. Get the bomb planted, but from the front there, Shane, I don't think he seeked out melted in time because there goes the bomb. 1v1 situation, and there it is, Hyper. Crisco, he's got the cruise missile, and he's got the round win. LA Dweebs again running away with their third straight. Denver surrender, struggling to put these pieces of the broken puzzle together.
LA, where was this before? This is looking more slick, more well-oiled. This is the LA we expected. I feel like I'm also talking about the CDL as well, the way they popped off in the Champions. But nonetheless, this is more like it. This is the fight they want. And Denver, you start to worry a little bit. 3-0 and a donut there, and that's not the start you want as Crisco goes for range.
MVP right here, ladies and gentlemen. 9-1 to his name, and we're not even halfway through yet onto this map. Tenacity, bomb held tightly in hand. I mean, they're just going to let Denver push up, and they'll do the rest. But, well, as we were talking, their extracurriculars ensued, and now we're faced with a 3v2 situation. But Crisco still alive. Tenacity with bomb held in hand, 1-3, looking to change that at this point in time. Curious to see what option they sort of opt with here, but from right now, well, it's going to be a little bit of a stalemate.
Is going to be a massive stalemate.
Oh.
Oh, just wrong timing. As Civil says very, very much. Crisco left alive, 8 streak to his name. No. If you got someone behind you, it's not going to work. Denver finally puts a point on the board. It's been a hot minute, I'm not going to lie. But is this the motivation to bring 3 straight rounds?
Yeah, I mean, Shane last round failed to protect his teammate who was planting the bomb, and as a result, lost that control onto the A site. So it's only natural that he makes it up to the team by getting that final kill and closing that round out, so everyone can, you know, everyone's blood pressure levels can go right back to normal. So finally, Denver have one to answer, and now, well, the ball's in their court, so they gotta get the bomb planted here and at least succeed in doing that as well to probably put an end to this tornado that LA Dweebs have unleashed onto them. And right off the bat, well, not looking too good. Crisco, Tenacity, opening things up. The escaping wound that we thought was starting to shut is open and it's bleeding.
That's why we always tell, your mothers tell you, don't pick the scab. Always makes it worse. Crisco again gets another as he starts to build up another streak. 2 kills to his name. And it's all down to Skilly. And this is a big, big ask. 3v1. Might have an opportunity to actually get past. He's got Deddy. He could pop it here and get the bomb planted and use a post-plant situation.
Yeah.
But he needs to be careful because Tenacity, he is a bit on the move. Now comes the opportunity for a bomb plant. And he could position himself inside info and just wait for them to come. But look at Crisco as he realized, no!
Oh my gosh.
He was brilliantly paid. He thought he heard the bomb, and in doing so, Skilly out in the open. But it just didn't work to plan.
I was going to say there, Hyper. That was interesting to say the least. Someone wasn't doing their homework. Someone wasn't doing what they were supposed to do because Skilly went right through that alley and went completely unnoticed. But it's okay. Tenacity will clean up shop and pick up the pieces there as Crisco lie onto the ground there as well. So that's what you like to see. Like to see teammates that can kind of pick up the pace when you fall early on. So that being said, LA Dweebs, oh boy, 2 rounds away and they take home the series. And what we thought that Denver Surrender would end it about midway through, now LA Dweeps have arisen from the ashes, arisen from the grave, and tore down their tombstones.
They are making sure the tombstones are crushed, grinded, and in a form of ashes. But TKO, 2 pieces. No, we ain't making this grinded down. We're still out here to fight. TKO in the
Oh
corner,
my
just
gosh.
can't find it. 2-piece coming back, and it's all even, well, briefly, as Jet will get the second for himself. Shane left alive, but a doable
Oh.
situation from this position is called timing at its finest. Finds
Oh.
one. Bomb going down. No, not just yet. No confidence. Sounds like Parliament in the UK. No vote of no confidence and change it
Oh
up.
gosh.
Go straight back to B.
Yeah, I'll go right on over to the point. And there he is. Tootsie's Hyper. They were out, and as a result, Shane capitalized on it. There it is, 2-4. I was gonna say, quite some time there. Denver cannot allow LA to win this next round, at least for quite some time. So once you get to that round 5, it's the atmosphere starts to change, the vibe starts to change. I mean, the feeling of defeat, even on the best player, starts to slowly creep on over. So if Denver can hold them on over to that four round streak and sort of climb their way ever so slowly and sort of quickly at the same time, I'm looking at a recipe for success. And if you ask me, well, LA Dweebs have been extremely aggressive and have been winning those aggressive fights at that. I mean, you take a look right now, Tenacity already right on to Skilly. You'll find him. You got to play slow right now for Denver, because if you don't, Tenacity, Rival 9, same ordeal with Crisco, waiting on the other side.
Yeah, but at the same time, you've got to play fire with fire. So it all depends how you want to approach this. But Tenacity, being fearful, he's got the information. As Civil says, thank you very much. If you're going to back out of that room, we're going to take the easy fight. Shane out in the open will get taken out by Crisco. 2v2. Bomb still a drop down and broken. And you've got to find a site at this point. 37's left. You could still do one last rotation.
No,
And if you're
that's huge.
TKO, you open up an opportunity. Crisco at the back. This could go one of 2 ways. But which way is he going?
Oh, this is huge. This is huge for Denver. Technically, they should be winning this, but as of right now, they will. Denver surrender, answering again to LA Dweebs in their streak of rounds, 3-4. They stay alive for another day.
Only just staying alive. Look at the red screen on him.
Oh my.
How much HP did that man have? I would probably say 5.
That's what it seemed like there for a second, to be honest with you, but now is not the time to you know, gnaw and groan and moan about how close that was. Now is the time to keep this energy going, keep on suppressing LA Dweebs, and get yourself, Denver, to a point where you've got that round on even time. But as of right now, well, LA Dweebs will play back for quite some time, but my gosh, 30 kill there from the Rival 9, and Skilly will get the ball rolling.
This is what Denver needs. Man advantage. Give yourself a little bit more confidence. A stack inside the couches and laundries. Just wait patiently. Tenacity will get a trade back, but Scully will be there waiting. Back and forth they go. 2v2. All even. Once again, Bomb looking to go to that A site, but no commitment just yet. Again, lack of confidence, lack of knowledge. So when you do plant, you've got to be certain the crossfire, the protection will go down, and it will allow the bomb to be planted. And now, Civil and Machine, they've got to find their way in.
be able to make this work. They could very well tie the game right here. And there it is. There's one 2v1 situation. Metal waiting. Ready now than ever. On the other side of the spectrum, he peeks the wrong corner. And Civil will take home 2 as TKO will get the defuse back and make it official. We've got ourselves a tie game.
Tied game. It ain't around 11 yet. And I really wanted this to be around 11. 4-4 apiece. We were doubting a little bit of Denver a little early on, but I like what I'm seeing here. Playing tempo, and I love talking about tempo in this style of game mode. Tempo is the most important thing to look at. Do you go fast? Do you go slow? You have to change it up. Confuse your enemies, discombobulate them, do whatever you need to.
Well, now is a really important situation that we like to see and observe how LA Dweebs reacts to, because up until this point and the hard point as well, they were complete dominated and they weren't really answered to as strongly as they are right now. So the question is whether or not if they let the pressure of this call to action get to them, or if they're able to suppress that call, stop the energy from going, and take home this series. Melted. There's one to his name. That's a good start. But so far, Denver Surrender, they have that primal conditioning and that power position right onto A.
LA playing very aggressive, giving themselves that early pick. They've liked to play in this position one too many times, and Denver almost reading it like a book. They know not to push into their lines. Are millimeters away from the bomb site, but still Melted is in that position where he could easily do some damage. Now the peak's going to come out by Skilly, and it's not going to get the kill, but Melted's position absolutely given away. 26 seconds left on the clock. They're going to rotate all the way over to A. They're going right into Tenacity sightline. They will take him down. There's still hope and an opportunity to peek around the corner. Still, Denver, keep this alive. And they're going to rotate right back to A. Skilly, good again. Going for another. Shane for getting a kill. Now hope is in Denver's side.
Oh my gosh, Crisco. 30 seconds left to make a clutch play. He finds one, finds the second. Hold on a second, Hyper. Stay in your seats. We're not done just yet. 1v1 situation. Bomb is still ticking. 7.5 to defuse. He might have an idea of where the last player might be, but he doesn't do it. Denver Surrender are looking at map point and series point. And from the looks of how difficult it was just to close out that round, I think they deserved it.
Do they deserve it? Is not even a question. They deserved that round. It looked to be on the back foot, but they just came storming. Hey, we're a man down. Doesn't matter. We're going to let you make the mistakes. And LA did. Just overextended here and there. And Denver capitalizing on the moment. Now, LA going for the attack. You got to pull something out the bag to bring this to around 11.
AKO is on a 4 streak as well, so if he's able to find 2 in this round but still lose, at least you know he has a cruise missile. That's important to note. But now you see LA Dweebs are staring down the barrel of a series loss. A series loss against someone who isn't even technically in your division at this point in time. So, of course, only naturally they're going to play as conservatively as possible, but Skilly's not having any of it. As he finds one, gets traded out in the process as well. And, well, LA Dweebs... very much so, same situation, different sides of the bomb. Now they got the bomb, but they're at a stalemate with Denver Surrender. I think I hear that cruise missile invested there. Nobody's hit, nobody's home. Shane, TKO will capitalize as a result. Crisco again left to do the dirty deeds and get that 3v1. If we see it, probably the greatest we'll ever see this season, but it's very unlikely at this point in time, as already a couple love taps over from Civil saying, hello, don't forget, I'm here.
Let's go. Lost alive. We'll find Civil.
23 seconds.
Time's ticking down. He needs to make this play. It's the clutch of your career, and it's not gonna work. Denver Surrender will take the game, and in doing so, from a bracket below, will take the challenge up to gold. They will take the win. Welcome to the gold division.
They'll remain undefeated. That's 5-0 for Denver Surrender, Hyper.